Have you ever told yourself, let it go, it's not worth it, I'm the bigger person? And yet, something inside you felt small, like you swallowed a truth that needed to be said. Every time you stay silent to avoid discomfort, you're not being noble. You're betraying yourself. Society praises superficial peace. From childhood, we're taught that politeness means silence, that choosing peace over confrontation is maturity. But this is a lie. Nietzsche saw through it. He exposed the truth. What we often call virtue is just fear in disguise. Fear of rejection, fear of being called difficult, fear of being seen. When you live like this, tiptoeing through life, always agreeable, you don't become peaceful. You become invisible. You're not rising above conflict. You're running from it. And the anger you suppress, it doesn't disappear. It sinks, and it poisons. Nietzsche called this sickness the slave morality, a set of values invented not by the strong but by the weak, by those who were powerless to act. So they rewrote the rules. Strength, pride, courage, they were recast as evil. Obedience, humility, submission suddenly became virtues, but not out of moral truth, out of survival. The weak couldn't beat the powerful, so they moralized their weakness. And now, that morality still lives in you. How many times have you silenced yourself to keep the peace? How often have you bitten your tongue, smiled when you wanted to scream, apologized when you should have stood tall? That's not goodness. That's fear pretending to be virtue, and it's everywhere, in our schools, in our homes, in our relationships. Be nice. Don't argue. Don't cause trouble. You were trained to equate silence with strength, but silence isn't strength, it's surrender. Now let's be clear. This isn't about picking fights or seeking chaos. It's about reclaiming your right to exist with strength and integrity. If you can't confront what's wrong, you'll carry it forever. It festers. And eventually, you either explode or collapse into apathy. You become a ghost in your own life. That's not peace. That's defeat. But there's a way out. Nietzsche didn't just diagnose the problem. He offered a path forward. A path that begins with confrontation. Not with others, but with yourself. With the fears, the beliefs, the values that were never truly yours. The real problem isn't conflict. It's what you believe conflict says about you. That it makes you mean, or immature, or selfish. But what if the truth is the opposite? What if real maturity means knowing when to fight? What if growth comes not from avoiding friction, but by facing it with open eyes? You don't overcome fear by shrinking. You overcome it by expanding. And that's exactly what Nietzsche believed, that we are meant to affirm life, to grow, to clash, to become. The first step, recognize the lie. The second, feel the anger, not to explode but to understand. That heat in your chest is not a flaw, it's fuel. You're not here to be harmless. You're here to be whole. This isn't an easy path. It takes courage to speak when you were taught to be silent. It takes strength to stand when you were trained to kneel. But if you don't begin, you will live a life shaped by fear and call it kindness. If you find this helpful, and this is resonating with you, don't forget to click the subscribe button so you won't miss new videos, coming every other day. Your support truly means a lot. Thank you. And now we go deeper. Because that fear you carry, it doesn't just silence you, it leaves behind something even more dangerous. Resentment. The kind that simmers in the dark. That's what we'll face next. Let's continue. Nietzsche didn't just expose the poisons of slave morality and resentment, he gave us a symbolic map for transformation. In Thus Spoke Zarathustra, he described the three metamorphoses of the spirit: the camel, the lion, and the child. This isn't just metaphor. It's a path for becoming who you truly are. The camel represents the phase where we carry the burdens of others' expectations. It bows under the weight of rules, obligations, and a culture that worships obedience. Be humble, be quiet, swallow your anger. Don't cause conflict. The camel endures and takes pride in its endurance. It believes its suffering is a sign of virtue. Most people live in this stage. Maybe you recognize yourself here. But Nietzsche reminds us, the camel cannot carry these burdens forever. Eventually, something inside begins to revolt. The soul grows tired of submission and demands freedom. That's when the lion is born. The lion is the spirit that learns to say no. No to imposed values. No to false virtue. No to living as someone else's idea of good. The lion doesn't want to destroy for destruction's sake. It wants space. Space to be authentic, to exist without compromise. But to do this, the lion must face a terrifying dragon, the dragon of thou shalt. On each of its glittering scales, a rule. Thou shalt be meek, thou shalt not resist, thou shalt avoid conflict. To bring this dragon down requires courage. You will face judgment, rejection, and guilt that's been etched into your psyche since childhood. But if you can say a conscious, grounded no, you break the chains. You stop submitting and begin to live on your own terms. And then something even deeper happens. The third transformation begins. The child. The child is not weak or naive. It is the reborn self, free from submission, free from rebellion. It no longer reacts to the world, it creates. It doesn't live by someone else's values or against them. It invents its own. It chooses when to bow and when to stand tall. It plays, it explores, it lives with joy. Conflict no longer frightens the child. It's no longer a battleground. It becomes a canvas. This is what Nietzsche saw as true rebirth. But you can't reach it without first going through the fire. You must face conflict. You must challenge the guilt, shame, and fear that have silenced you. You must stop hiding. So here's the question. How do you discover who you truly are beneath all those layers? Nietzsche's answer comes in one of his final works, Ecce Homo. There he offers the phrase, become who you are. It's not just a slogan, it's a challenge. Because becoming who you are isn't natural or easy. It's not something that happens by itself. It's a battle. And the first battle? It's with your own fear of conflict. How often have you made decisions based not on what you wanted, but on what others expected? How many times have you swallowed your truth just to keep the peace? You may think that's noble, but Nietzsche saw it as the most dangerous trap of all. Because each time you say yes when you mean no, a piece of you vanishes. He believed conflict is the crucible of identity, that in struggle against others, against the world, you discover what you truly value. Without conflict, there is no clarity. Without clarity, no authenticity. Without authenticity, no real life. So you must be willing to say no to others, to roles you never chose, to the reflex to fit in. And yes, it's terrifying, because when you stop living by the herd's rules, you're on your own. But in exchange, you gain something priceless, your own integrity. Every boundary you draw is a declaration. Every truth you speak, even when it trembles, is a step back to yourself. Nietzsche never promised comfort, but he promised freedom, the freedom to live as who you truly are. And that starts with this: courage. If this video struck a chord with you, if even one part made you stop and reflect, leave a comment below saying, "I choose to no longer stay silent." Putting that decision into words is more than symbolic. It's the first move toward reclaiming your voice. And don't let it stop here. This is just one step in a much deeper transformation. The next video will take you further down this path. Watch it and keep going. You owe it to yourself. And with that being said, I will see you in the next one.